Today's April 1st, 2024, and the Lord gave me a dream last night. Now, as is my custom, it's been this way for at least a month or 2 months now. I've asked the Lord when I go to bed, God, put my head on your chest. Let me listen to your heartbeat. Get my heart in sync with yours. And so I had a really disturbing dream last night, and I know it's from the Lord. I'm 100% confident, but it was still is very very disturbing, and it's kind of graphic in some way. But I'm going to tell it to you exactly the way it was. So maybe not the ears for kids. This what I'm about to say right now. The dream reminds me of Ezekiel. Okay, chapter 8, when God took Ezekiel and showed him all the abominations going on in his house, okay, at the temple. And so here it was. I was a priest in the dream, and I was participating in all sorts of sexual immorality with a woman. She was a very beautiful woman, and she would just give herself to me for my sexual pleasure whenever I wanted. This woman assumed I wanted to have anal sex with her, and she would open herself up for it. I did sodomize her and also a little vaginal sex, but I was never able to get complete sexual gratification and orgasm. Then there was some sort of sexual device. I was standing on a wall and she wanted me to try that. And so I stood on top of the wall and my penis had to stretch down like 6 feet to enter whatever it was below me. But that wasn't satisfying either. But she thought it was great, and she was encouraging other people to do the same. After this sexual immorality, I was a part of a military institution. I was a priest still. Now, there was also an eclipse going on. And at this point in the dream, I was trying to find my way to a shower. But I didn't have any shower items like a towel or soap. I got those things when I got to the place where I could take the shower. When I walked into the building, it was a huge bathroom. There was lots of showers there. And I chose one in the corner. And as I'm taking a shower, a curtain swung open and I could see the person right next to me who was showering. And it was a very beautiful black woman. She didn't seem to have any breasts at all. And I couldn't actually see if she had male parts or female parts, but I was pretty convinced she was a woman. She wasn't shocked and didn't have a care in the world that I was suddenly looking at her while taking a shower while I was naked taking a shower. It was no big deal at all to her. Well, after this, I got out and got dressed, and then I left to go back to my barracks because I was a priest, right? And this is where I lived. And so I start walking back. When I went out of the building, I noticed the eclipse was going on, but it was very strange. The eclipse had happened already, but now it was happening again in a different location in the sky, and I could see both locations and their paths. Okay, they were both there. I could see them both. As I walked to wherever I was living, some sort of barracks, I thought I would be in trouble because my rifle was left at home. Now, not the barracks, but at a home that I had. And I didn't have it with me while doing my military service. While I was walking back to the barracks, I noticed a guy who I knew, but he didn't know me. And I asked him for a ride to take me back to where I was staying, and he agreed. We drove along for a few minutes, and he dropped me off at a carnival. And my barracks was at the carnival, but at the other end of the carnival, and I didn't want to inconvenience him any further. And so I just say, "Oh, drop me off here. I'll walk the rest of the way." So I begin walking and I begin to realize this is not the right location that I need to be at. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a cell phone. And so I began to ask around, where I was at, where I was supposed to be. It wasn't right. So I come across this older woman, and I explained to her the situation, and she gets on the telephone and is trying to figure out with some sort of card that I was carrying. All right. Um, and, and she's reading the card to a person on the phone that she's talking to. And the first phrase that she uses, it's like 5 words. I don't remember what it was, but she repeated it 3 times. And I say 5, but it was just real short, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was like 4 seconds long. And she repeated it several times. And then the person on the other end confirmed who I was through whatever was on the card, whatever she was saying to him. And I actually heard the guy on the phone repeat back my address, and that was correct. So after she gets off the phone, I see this map, and it's right there in front of us. And I was able to like zoom in on the map, and I ended up that I was actually at the wrong carnival. And I was supposed to be at a different carnival. And it looked like this other carnival was an island unto itself. Okay, so the entire carnival was its own island. I began to talk about how I don't have any money. I don't know how to get there. And then all of a sudden, these 3 extremely beautiful women show up. And they heard me. And they started giving me cash, a little over $1,000. It was just what I needed to get to the island. After this happened, I walked a little bit, and there was a driver, and he was waiting for me to take me where I needed to go so that I could go to the island. And he made a telephone call standing outside of his car. And I heard the telephone ring, okay? And it was like a fax machine picked up. You know how you would call a fax number back in the day, and it would pick up and start, deep. I mean, it would do all sorts of noises. You could tell it's a fax machine, and you would just hang up or send a fax. But this guy just waited on the phone. He just waited and waited for all that beeping and all that to get done. He was waiting for someone to pick up, and he does. Someone finally picks up. And I heard when the guy picked up, the driver starts lying about who he is and who I am, and everything is like in smoke and mirrors. It's a lie, but he's getting the right information to whoever he's talking to. Okay, without really saying it, he's saying it. When the call, connected and all this, the response that I heard from the guy on the other end was that, he's going to become a slave. Well, this didn't sit well with the driver when he heard that, and it certainly didn't sit well with me, but I decided, well, I'm going to go with them anyways. The next thing I knew, I'm on a speedboat. And we're going super fast. We're really fast. And we're going to this carnival island. I remember we passed by some sort of islanders. They were black. And someone said, we tried to go there and do a survival thing, but they wanted to kill us. And we were just there to have fun, So anyways, they were laughing about this. And the next thing I knew, here we are, we're coming up on another boat, and we used that boat and somehow like a ramp, and we skipped off it, and we go flying through the air, and we're passing over rocks and a little bit of land, and then we come we traveled a long ways. It was amazing. And then we landed back in the water, and we landed at just the right spot, and we did this hard turn to the left and did like a skid right up to like a fueling location with a mechanic. And we got out of the boat. So I get out the boat, I get back on the street, and there's the 3 women who had provided me the money to get to where I was going. And so I walked up to them, and they were in a black SUV, and the SUV was packed full of material things for the world. And I said, look, thank you so much for your generosity. Can I get your phone number, so that I can repay you in the future? And they said, no, it's good. let's just leave things the way they are. I said, okay, and I walked away. I was definitely, I was definitely at the Carnival Island. Okay, that's that. Now let me give you the interpretation. So the priest was a priest in the Catholic Church who was committing sexual immorality, and the Catholic Church is the carnival. The priest is also in the military, obviously, and this is symbolic of him being a warrior for God and armed for battle. And not having your rifle is a great sin because he's not equipped to do battle against Satan or his hordes. And the civilians suffer as a consequence. If the military doesn't have what it needs to protect the civilians are going to suffer. It's a big problem. The woman in the shower was trans, and this is now accepted in the Catholic Church. The two eclipses are the two eclipses that crossed America. The second one being on April 8th, just 7 days from today. The carnival that the priest lived at was his normal location for practicing his priesthood. The Carnival Island is Vatican City. The priest should not be concerning himself with things of the world too much, like money and cell phones, right? But when we walk around without these things today, we feel naked, don't we? I mean, if you don't have your cell phone with you, you don't have your wallet, you feel naked. I mean, especially without your cell phone. It's like become a part of you, and this is not good. So the generosity of these three women are those who give to the church, but they're busy doing and enjoying the things of the world, enjoying the carnival atmosphere at the same time. Their outward adornments were very beautiful, and they were extremely beautiful with perfect makeup. Their godliness was outward appearance, the exact opposite of what it should be. They shouldn't be participating in the things of the world. And the church that they support is an abomination. Their helping me was just them paying their dues, believing it would go well for them. The islanders who wanted to fight are the ungodly. And the church thinks they can just mix with them and everything will be fine. But the ungodly hate you. The boat traveling at high speed is nothing less than our ability to traverse vast distances in a very short time. Even flying through the air and stopping on a dime is no problem for us today. Mankind has conquered the world, measured it out exactly, explored the depths of the sea and the far reaches of the universe. This is the consequences. In the beginning, after the destruction of water, we began to build the Tower of Babel, and God came down to us to see what we were doing, and he said nothing would be impossible for us. So, being ever merciful and full of love, he mixed up our languages to prevent us from moving towards nothing being impossible for us. Now, at the end, we have overcome what he said about nothing being impossible for us. And we've even overcome the language barriers. We now see the wisdom of God in saying and doing what he did. We have now overcome his word and action that prevented us. Just as the previous world was overcome by sin and destroyed by water because of what the angels taught men, now we will suffer destruction by fire because of the sins of men, which we have learned, not from the angels, but we learned it all on our own this time. And I just want to say, Satan was released from his prison on March 5th, 2003. And for an example, since the development of the iPhone in 2007, the world has completely changed. It's been united and connected through all the applications, and how much sin has come through all those applications. You can't even imagine, is mind-boggling. And actually, you probably can. You know, everything on it. Horrible. Everybody has been swallowed up in sin. The day is soon coming. Not many days from now, God will take the image of his son out of mortal creation, those who have become a piece of lightning. The Lord Jesus told you when his coming, it would be like lightning shining from the east to the west. Lightning is our parable. We must flash and become like a piece of lightning because God gets the image of his son out of mortal creation, and lightning is that image. It is the brightest thing. It's the flash. We need to hold that image. Hold that image of being lightning because that's the image of his son, and that's what he's coming to take. So when he does this and we're removed, Satan immediately will get control of the world. Okay? You'll have what God knew in the beginning: one world leader, one government, one currency. And this leads to unadulterated sin, a complete disaster for mankind. Satan will soon take control of everything through man, through what men do. Saying nothing will be impossible to us is the same as God saying, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Very graphic dream. But you know what? Ezekiel, he saw these types of things also, you know, and it's a total abomination with these priests and the sodomy and the sexual immorality and the devices that they use. And the church, especially the Vatican, look, the glory of God left it on that day, November 1st, All Saints Day. Okay, I didn't know it was All Saints Day. And the glory of God departed there, and it came to my house. You know, and it took several days, okay, for the priesthood to come to me. Just like I read last night, it took like 7 days to ordain Aaron. And during this 7 days is when the anointing was dropped on me, and I was making videos, and just this whole process, right? It took several days, and I didn't even realize what's going on. And I really didn't completely understand what had happened until the last, I don't know, couple weeks, months. It's really, really amazing to me to have gone through all this. And God right now, he told me it begins, and you can watch a previous video about that. And since he said it begins, revelation like you wouldn't believe has been pouring out on me. And I'm just like, it's coming so fast and furious. It's all I can do to keep up with it. Okay. And yeah, big things are going to happen in April. But hey, I have to be faithful to tell you exactly what happened in the dream. And even though it's kind of graphic, I'm sorry. But it is what it is. It's what's going on. And hey, we got to become a piece of lightning, and real fast, real fast. You do not want to be left behind. This is not no game. You know, it's nothing to be dabbling in the world any longer. We can't be dabbling in the world any longer. You got to separate yourself. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go back to worship and prayer and all that good stuff. God bless you.